From back now. Go from the stage, you go face now. Like on off like this.
There's none in the car.
No, they are not a stand up.
Check Wambe to my
Which audio they talk?
audio, maybe you can hear never can question.
Check 1 2 1 2. Oh, not yet.
Well, I said, I just deal with it.
Let me get to you. I'm happy to see you. Don't worry. I will a lot. I'm
He's in Nigeria. He's gone. Mama Jogo. Even like no, what Indiana reception. This way. They go this year. Hotel reception. No, hotel reception. This one is like. Just God.
Well, na Mike. Na Mike.
I know this. Let me check away. One on my phone. One on my phone. I know this.
Na Mike.
Yes, sir.
Check 1 2 1 2.
But when you talk about you talk for yourself. What is this? Just mic. It's a microphone. Okay. Then we can get on it.
All right. All rise, please. Our king is coming in. All rise. Because if you have your cap, can you take your cap off? Yep. Thank you. Wogdi. Wogdi. Igwe. Ago. Wogdi. Wogdi. Ago. Wogdi. Please have your phone on silent, please. All phones on silent, please.
Agụ. Obi igwe. Akọrụ dị ọnụ ya. Ebe ndị ọjịkwa agba.
Agụ. Because of now, I'm not going to say and Abogidi. Okay, that idea about town meeting. Actually, running Abogidi. There will be the process I get used today. I'll find out from Abogidi how do you want to take it to identify or use or
Upon the line it's chatting. Look when life upon the line it's chatting. If I'm like that, with gather of ma, upon no more nisha. One shanini, Kayaba, Kobe, Kizino, no. Now the line, so life on the line, disabled one, line. That was Shelley Chitata. On the Indianapolis, Bolanyoku, Scabian Alpha. I've done one. I've no this. Can you see Nigeria? Where why but as a little late and we come up very early. We'll come out to and when the American they keep photo time. So that's a wardrobe. That's a wardrobe. I've done some notes from the bigger environment in Nigeria to Nigeria's way. Come to Southeast, Batazana, Anambra states, with Zen Onitsha, and they can then focus on Onitsha. In terms of Nigeria, well, everywhere non associated, Buddha is ready, Buddha Nigeria is ready. Buhari like for 8 years. Okay, Jonathan Hachi, Nigeria had another of man. Buhari or Tinubu, for instance, now, Jonathan had that of man. That's from Apache. 8 years. There's a complete decline in all human development indices, everything, public health, education, standard of living, infrastructure, everything. Now, after 8 years, Tinubu has taken over the same political party. So you will expect that they can fix it. It's going second year now. Things are even going worse. Going faster than even under Buhari. Cost of living is going to be on each other. Loaf of bread and like 300 naira now under Buhari is now 1,500 naira. Then about transport, a drop. Keke is, I don't know how much it is and so on. And the minimum wage is 30,000 naira a month. Okay. Either as a driver or another gate. If 30,000 naira can procure, no tata. You can't even pay your rent. So it forces everybody into other means of making a living. Either for Zurio, or extort. So the police, army are all on the same wage system. So what's it also policing our career roadblocks? Even they are attached to, they don't have them. Jenna 3 roadblock. It's, as bad as it sounds. Yes, as bad as it sounds. Open Affair area, and some of the police people are armed robbers. I asked the people of Fajeburi. So it's just to give you a picture of how the country is. Meanwhile, they don't easy. Have a wild time, And the police on social media, Minister for Abuja, FCT, media, goes. Our party, they have a good time, they put it on social media. So there's a big gap and complete insensitivity. So much so now, I want to do a better model. Now, 12 numbers. So, we can go to China, part of the elite, which we're not, because things are difficult. And because of that, people like anyone there have to support around you. Everybody's a beggar. That's the situation we have. And minimum wage has been increased effective this month to 70,000 naira. 70,000 naira still will not get anywhere. I was personally hoping that it would be at least a minimum of 100,000 naira. But of course, they say 70. They cannot afford to pay more than that. But the president has just acquired a new aircraft, which is being refitted in Switzerland. It's a wide-bodied, I think it's an Airbus, I think, equipped with conference facilities, sleeping chambers, with a shower and everything. Incredible age, and it needs all of that. Just to be like Air Force One. That's all. But Nigeria is not like America. And I believe that their allowances, the Senate president in Nigeria takes home more money than the Senate presidents in America here. So the ironies and the inconsistencies and the contradictions that Nigeria presents are so much. So if you look at the budget, the current budget, the State House Clinic has a higher budget than the National Hospital in Abuja. National Hospital is that's Emmanuel just make. It's for the president and his wife and then people who go there. But we know the president does not go to the state hospital, but he goes to France, he goes to England. So what are they doing with the money? You see, to refurbish the vice president's house, I don't know how many billion naira just to refurbish the vice president's house. And yet, British Prime Minister left office in the morning. In the afternoon, his successor moved in into the same house, the same car, and so on. So there's a lot of contradiction in Nigeria, and the civil society organizations are planning a demonstration in the 1st of August. You know, and people are saying, "Oh, don't demonstrate." But they may be sick. Kenya is trending, South Africa is trending, and how about Nigeria? It could be even more. I don't know. Now coming to the Southeast presents its own challenge. I wouldn't even say, Ayaka Wuro, the civil war is not over. Okay, in our minds and in our mentality, Makana, at the end of the war, at the end of a major war, like the World War, Second World War, Germany lost. Reconciliation between Germany and the victors, America, etc., etc. But within Germany, within the losing group, they have to reconcile amongst themselves also. Because there are some we may be from their side. So I believe we have not reconciled amongst ourselves. We don't have peace amongst ourselves, which is why Tata, instead of the Fulani and they're there. They're but the main problem, the so-called unknown gunmen, our own brothers and sisters, our own sons and daughters who are terrorizing Budani. Namazwafia on Monday, you can do the economics of the loss of sitting at home every Monday. You get on the chat. On Monday, you see young boys and girls walking up and down the street holding hands. Where does it lead? Going on the future. See, the Southeast Forum cannot work together as a team because, partly because of all the states in Nigeria, in literally all the zones, the 6 political zones. Okay, in all other zones, the two parties that hold sway, either APC or PDP. In the Southeast, 4 political parties are holding sway. PDP, 1 state. Labour Party, 1 state. ABGA, 1 state. And then APC now has 2 states because they have Fafa Labour. So to get them together, to think above partisanship is a challenge. But the Southwest is doing that. The North, the whole of the North, 19 states, they have their governors forum where they meet and have decisions and make things. But I need, as small as we are, we can't come together. Now, we're bogged down. Security, of course. You can't fight security in a number of states. Because we have borders with Enugu State and all that. So you have to fight security on the basis of the Southeast. And if you're doing that, then you must also link with Asaba, with Delta State on this side, Kogi State on the other side, Benue State, and so on. But we're not doing that as effectively as we could because the governors cannot work together. About 3 weeks ago, myself, Obasanjo, and Emeka Anyoko spent some time with the governors, with the Southeast Governors Forum. They promised that they're working better together now, so we're looking up to them. Luckily, also, Buhari has just signed the bill setting up the Southeast Economic Development Commission that will now focus on the development of the Southeast, the same way you have the Niger Delta Development Commission, and so on and so forth, recognizing that the Southeast suffered extensively during the war. So hopefully, the government will provide money for infrastructure development. As it is now, the master plan for railways in the country is Southeast Weather, master plan for railways. And the Minister for Transport that developed the master plan, Wambe who claims to be Onyibo, okay, and this was their Onyibo, they're all from the same area anyway, and so on. Yeah. But then a rail line going to Niger Republic, from Katsina to Maradi in Niger Republic, where a trunk line that will take gas up to Niger, etc., etc. So these are the challenges I want on the Southeast, but hopefully the governors begin to work together. We can improve the sense of working together, because the Southeast should be seen as one big market. Its expertise, Ebonyi State agriculture, Anambra State manufacturing, etc., etc., the well petroleum. So if you put it together, you can become a very strong economic force in Nigeria. Okay, but the average Igbo man that takes a loan from the bank today to invest will either go to Lagos or go to Abuja, because his returns come from there. Even an Igbo, the government is not friendly, etc., etc. But things will hopefully change. And one point to mention on the Southeast zone, Ohanes and Igbo, we have a big crisis there now. George Obiozo was elected President General. He passed away in office. Maneli Wanyanwu was elected or selected by consensus there to finish his term. He just passed away in office. There's 6 months to go. Okay, and after Imo State, the leadership will go to River State. And River State, I have divided, half of them is Nafabro Ndibo, half of them is Nafabro Ndibo. So effectively, the leadership goes to Ikwere, 50% or so, or a fraction of River State will now provide the leadership for Ibonine, all of the Southeast, including the Ibono in diaspora and all of that. It's a big dilemma for us. Okay, I don't have the answer. Okay, so if you go that way, will they lead and hold the fort, or will the leadership of Ndi will be compromised by people like Wike, who doesn't believe Anibo and all of that? If you don't go that way, are you excluding them? And okay, the Anioma, the Delta Igbo, they've held the leadership before under Ambassador Wechu, and he led well and handed over. Okay, so that's the dilemma. So we come to Anambra State. The key issue in Anambra Tata governorship has been on since from the time Soludo came into office, because politicians live from election to election, and in between elections, then politics should stay aside and governance should take over. Mana, not just Anambra, it's from politics to politics. Governance takes second class seat. So the build up to election November next year is already on. And this morning we got a sad news about the death of Ivan Yoba. Yeah, we got the sad news about the death of Ivan Yoba, who was a key player in that equation going forward next year. So, it will change the whole equation again, just like the emergence of Kamala Harris has changed the equation of the the presidential campaign in America. Waiting to see what will happen. Security, I touched on security already. Roma, kidnapping, murder, etc., etc. But on the China, okay, I don't think we've lost any soul on the China. But a lot of people have been kidnapped, taken to a quiet corner, seen what a phone, they check your phone, and they see the bank details on your phone. So you can start transferring the monies. And then you transfer all the money in your account, and they let you out. Phone and Ghana. If I would there's no phone to do. It's terrible. That's true. Okay. So I plan on nature. I'll just take a few issues. I'll talk about our annual Ofala Festival and Golibe Festival. I'll talk about the debates that came onto the social media amongst India and Onitsha not long ago, whether Onitsha has become the extravagance capital of the world. We'll talk about it because there's an issue that affects us. I'll talk about Ubin Council, and then I'll talk about Onitsha Advancement Foundation, which is our platform for redeveloping Onitsha, for refocusing on Onitsha, and so on. Then I'll talk about a few of the legacy projects that we have that we're talking about, just briefly, and then we'll open up for discussions based on Ajuaga Ajuzi and the comments that we make. We can go into more depth on the issues that are of interest. I begin with Ofala and Godibe. The chairman of the Ofala steering committee is here in the person of Onya. So maybe you'll also add a few words on that. Mana otu obodo si wee dị, agụụ dị n'obodo. There's hunger, there's poverty. You know, there's hunger, there's poverty. My steward, Aradronwiye, he rushed her to the hospital. After all said and done, his bill is 450. Hello? I'm sorry. I think I pushed the button. So, you can see what we face already. Onitsha is a very peculiar society because with COVID, we stopped all activities in Onitsha. Issues, everything stopped. See weather. After COVID, the beze aqua, swelkwe, osuozu, okay. And the implication on the local economy became obvious, which I am around. It wasn't that obvious. The next photo, the canopy, no check. The next scene, the na-achacha fele, the na-atutu bottle. Those are people earn a living doing all of that. Everything stopped, and poverty even increased. So in the palliative program I went, we had to include all those people, the palliative thing. However, O2 Nigerians were the Tata. We asked ourselves in the committee, Odima that we still celebrate Ofala in the flamboyant manner that we do every year. It has grown from year to year. And we invite the VIPs. We'll have a special area for that where they go and have lunch and well entertained. You know, you drink champagne, drink wine, etc. We come to the conclusion that we shouldn't do that. Now, Obodo Adrom, Obodo Nigeria, and we just had an example. Have the annual festival, Jidoba Festival, and we run, you know, neck to neck with them as the most flamboyant in Nigeria. And even the Ijebu natives were criticizing. Now, it's also a fair, it's also a should be if they spend half of the money to acquire about Shebi, they could improve community life and social life in Ijebu and other areas. So we're pulling down the cost for Fala, and hopefully, you know, we can sustain even for going forward. Okay, but you know, I can tell you that, but my outfit this year will be very, very local. It will not be as it used to be. For instance, it's my own personal challenge because I pay for it, but it will come down as an example. The high level entertainment, which costs us a lot of money, we cut it out. Okay. But we put more emphasis on other areas. We have an annual lecture. We started it last year with Chukwuemeka University and Nigeria Institute of Public Relations. The lecture will go on, and this year the lecturer will be Patrick Tony, who is very well known, very smart and so on. The art exhibition will go on as usual, but we're introducing a medical outreach program, which will run for 1 week. Okay, we're going to recruit a lot of medical personnel, nurses, retired nurses, some medical students, and so on and so forth. Just go into town, Jenafia, Jenopaiweka, all these India passengers, just take their blood pressure and check their sugar level, which you can do on the spot. Okay. And I know years ago, Lagos University medical students did it. The bus drivers and all of that. Some of them sleep for barely 4 hours a day. Okay. Almost during the daytime, they end up at the bar where they have their night parties until the morning and they come again. So to check the health level of the community and keep data and advise people and use data with the Ministry of Health to plan on public health and so on. So these are the kind of things we want to do, things that have more depth and less flamboyance to fit here with the mood of the country. Goribe Festival will be basically along the same line. On to the debate about extravagance. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. In Ilu Onitsha. Obishrozo, Bodu, Onaborodu, John Major on Inumaya. Open was if any one anniversary. Now, if I 50 years ago, all for yes, you see. But also, are all part and parcel of our culture and a part of our tradition. The issue is the level, the level of conspicuous consumption, nearly, Kamayaland, and all of that. So, Tata no Onitsha, it's all I was the joke. I see what I can Jan and Kaukalia. So I can ever get a big sweet video tata. It's up to snack, Kolaska, it's not Benda. ndị ogbenye na enume ya nwunye isizi ebe a jee n'ụmụ asa ebe a na-ebu ego ọzọ wee sizi wee jebezi na Ogbolieke and round up there and it's all eating. Ndị a mmadụ na-esi ime oge na-eje afịa and they go back home and they see us, just revelry, enjoyment, and all that. There must be a way you can still pursue and observe our culture and tradition without being seen to be just, enjoyment all the time. What about Odo, Ozo, Bani Buego? How much of that money do we put away for development purposes and all of that? So the debate is on, and a lot of when they know in America, we're part of that debate. Okay, people wrote. I have a record of all of them. Okay, and summarize the key points that came from individuals, without mentioning their names, without attributing anything to anybody, just the key points that are there. And then I open the Open Council. We start discussions. We send those key points to Abalanze, to all the constituent groups to think about. Okay, eventually we have to now begin to come together. So all of us have to be involved in laying out the way forward, where we still enjoy ourselves, observe our culture, our custom and tradition, and yet have a sense of development. That we can put something away today against the future. Late Isaac Mbadefo, I remember once visiting him. So we'll be coming back to all constituent groups, including one on a diaspora. Everybody has to be part of the debate. How we reorganize Onitsha going forward. That we can observe our tradition and our culture, even as times change, without being seen as unnecessarily extravagant. Mindful now, there are people who provide services who will be deprived of their income. So it's not easy, it's complicated, but that's why we're there to address all of those. Well, we're being council. The first thing to say is that we have some younger Ndiche here. There are a few of them at home also. And even though you're going to appear in the corporate world, it's a succession planning. See, now, open a plan, and you're okay, the younger ones will come in. And you don't wait until the you have to bring the young ones in, and so on. So that's what's going to happen. So I get up more younger, capable, competent people who can come into the Open Council. Mindful. Each is a call to service and nothing but call to service. And Oyobuna, John de Noah, when John de Mariton, whatever, I make it very clear to them. Nothing. There's no reward. The only reward is the contentment and satisfaction that you are serving your community. Okay. And I can say without mentioning names. Now, several people that I've invited at the end of the day, okay, either they're training their children, or their health is not good, or I found out to audio. So, snap go there, don't move his and I want to keep it as snap again. So, that's the direction. And from day one, I've always insisted that every village must be represented on the Beer Council. Sometimes, in Anya, you don't see people or we're getting there. We're getting there. Just one or two villages, like a rural village. It's well people in mind and all that. More of the younger ones will come in. Also, the background, the professional background is important. Okay, because if it's weather, you must have somebody. If a legal issue comes up, we have to have somebody there. Medical issues, education is very important. Late Organal Carrefour. And now, near, they handle the educational side, etc. We have a code of conduct for this year. And we have to finalize, but I want to make that code of conduct public. We have a and this code of conduct. Because before you go on in line with the code of conduct, send or you go so we have to lead by example. We're trying our best. Busy. I have to speak for them. Before I came onto the seat, and they're busy, in their respective communities, representing Onitsha, both within Onitsha and outside Onitsha. Okay, which is why we also now have Ndiche in America, now Abuja. Hopefully, we get someone in Lagos. We've had in Lagos before, and the Lagos Onitsha and so on. And it may not have Mobi too much because it may invariably starts at Umona level. Between the upper, no issue. It should resolve most of the cases. But I'm going to buy their so they'll escalate to being council. Being council will do its best to adjudicate. Okay. They give a ruling. And they still appeal to me, which is the final point before they go to high court and so on. Okay. And people feel they must go the whole hog. So I get congested. And literally, of the cases that come to me, I don't address more than 1% of them. Probably address less than because in Esianya, there's nothing to add. Nothing to add, and you send it back. But if few cases come that have fundamental implications for either women or there must be something that invites looking at it, so that each time we look at a case, either we have to reinterpret or we have to address some aspect that is there, but not in our minds and all of that. But all in all, being council is doing its best, and the workload is growing, but we need more indicia to reduce the workload. Onitsha Advancement Foundation, the platform we created, 2017, we had a full year of study with 16 work groups on all aspects of challenges in Onitsha, from education to drug addiction to our boundaries, Onitsha territorial boundaries, to symmetry. Now, Umu Onitsha collectively is the biggest lived-in cemetery, probably in the whole world. You know, if you have a party, you might never have food. And if one day they were a bobo, and all that. And some villages are worse than others. The Ogolu, so you know, Rezobi, small land area. Obago, I think, also has the same challenge and all that. But all of us are in the same situation. Okay. So that 2017 study took us a year. Excellent recommendations, and we have all the recommendations from, in fact, the studies from the 17 or 16 work groups. There were 17 work groups with recommendation for 16. And then we started implementation. Well, we had a review to implement. Came COVID. COVID now turned our attention to immediate challenges. We organized ourselves on each community COVID response team, OCCRT. And I think we highly recognized in the country for the way we organize ourselves. On the medical side, on the communication side, on the relief side. We even made our own sanitizers and made our own face masks, keeping our people busy, etc., and so on. Now, with the palliatives going on, you ask yourself, even more candidates, and all that, many of them will not be in a position to restart at the end of the COVID. What do we do? So we quickly set up another study group on the economic empowerment program, led by Neboara, and they produced an excellent professional study that can go, around the on-shine, including many of you abroad, because we started working now remotely. Okay, and we've been on the remote basis since then. Some of you in this platform are active players. So we now transformed to the Onitsha Advancement Foundation, which now lead the recovery and the projecting our development platform for the future. We have several work groups. I'm not going to go into the details because we have the website, there's a lot of information on that. But I'll go through some of the working groups and just make a score to show that all is not perfect. But in 3 years, we've gone quite, we've achieved quite a lot, but also learned, where we didn't do enough, where we can do better. So we're now at a stage of review and repositioning. We have the Women Empowerment Group, Women Affairs, okay, and mainly our professional women, and Lagos, Abuja, and Onitsha, helping from the adolescent girls on how to manage themselves growing up, and then I was having a boy and all that. And I scored them plus. They've done very well. Medical program, which includes medical insurance program. We worked out our own medical insurance program for 12,500 naira a year. And many of you here have contributed to that, both in the planning and in the funding. Obi Boro, I think, I've set up one for Obi Boro Nine, which is very, very highly applauded and all that. I score our medical programs, the work of our medical work group, plus. They've done very well. Then program support group, this is Onitsha to help, because all these work groups, mostly they work virtually, without embarrassing anybody. Barry, where's it? Divine. She's a member of the medical work group, and they fire, virtually. Kedu nwanne nwa onye ọbịa ahụ Ugodi Bez, she's a member of the medical work group, okay, and so on and so forth. The program support is based, in Imobi, Onitsha, physically to support all these work groups on things to be done on the ground, headed by Shebunugo Richard Melifong as core program support plus. Then Ado Ado Digital Incubation Group. That is Izumwakani on digital technology. So they can become entrepreneurs, digital entrepreneurs. And we're producing, we're making progress on those. So, a few of our people are being employed. India Zuputaneba, Kadafia, who is in charge, Emembolu, which Emembolu is in charge. Obi Asika makes contributions, at least with Iba Asika and all that. Of course, he will be this pavilion. All the floors, all the space in the pavilion will be devoted to Onitsha Youth Resource and Development Center. So we have batteries of computing. Imobi will become Karafia. Wi-Fi empowered. And once you step into Imobi, you have Wi-Fi. Have a high-speed cable that will come in when negotiating all of that. So ADIC I scored plus, partly because a lot of our young men and women still don't have the perception of investing in themselves for the future. Okay, now they want a quick result. So those who come and succeed, we're now using them as role models to get us to come in. When I say for you, so one thing to share, we can appreciate the models. I scored them plus. Oleg, Onitsha Leadership and Entrepreneurship Group, I scored them plus. Again, entrepreneurship. Okay. Candidate dosisio, then I wafe, candidate jewelry. His daughter won the big entrepreneurship prize from Euro Foundation. How much did they give her? 20 million naira. We were about 3 or 4 million naira, 5 million naira. Yes, she makes jewelry. bespoke jewelry, and she can't make enough because Abuja is demanding, Lagos is demanding, and all of that. And all for Buna, what a club to think through. America is a land of opportunities. It's an example where, just providing a service takes somebody away from it, and it pays you for it. So that is what Oleg is all about. Now, I score it plus rather than plus because there's so much emphasis on teaching them the rudiments of entrepreneurship, including economic management and accounting and all that, without enough time to empower them with the loans. So we have people who have gone through the program who have not received loans. Many have received loans and they're paying back, okay, and so on and so forth. So, well, education I scored plus. I don't know why I scored them plus. I think I should score plus because they do very well on 2 programs, remedial program and then the long vacation program for the young ones and so on. Vigilante, we have our Onitsha Community Vigilante Unit, which in America have contributed money towards their salaries and their empowerment. We're still trying to get them to be a fighting force, and all that, the discipline, the training, etc. So I scored them plus with a little minus because there's a lot of work to be done in that area. Okay. Our values orientation program is facing a lot of resistance because the Onitsha, I guess the human nature is always resisting something new. There's a suspicion that if something is new, that it doesn't work well because we have settled into. But our values are eroding very fast. There's no question about that. Okay, consumerism is taking over. Okay, also Onitsha, we're part of what's happening Anambra State, Anigbo, and Nigeria, particularly Anigbo, where money becomes the main measure of importance. Okeke lụrụ 4 decades. Hi, Okeke nya. Lụọ 5 decades ka akwụkwọ agwụ ozugbo. Money is not all of it. So we came up with our values orientation program. They made initial efforts, and it hasn't gained traction. And we have to revisit it through all our constituent bodies. The Diokpa must play a leading role because they are leading the villages. The Diche must play a leading role because they're also part of leadership of the community. Although Abalanze, Improvement Union, Niobo, youth, everybody should be part of it because we've got to reset our values very well. The amazing thing, Bona, the studies that we did, which were professional studies that we did to set up our value orientation program, has been adopted for an Igbo-wide values orientation program, which is working. I lead the joint body of traditional rulers and religious leaders of Igbo, and we've commissioned a values orientation program that will run through the entire Igbo nation. Education, working through the schools, because the schools is where you teach children new values. Working through the schools, through the churches, through the communities, through the traditional institutions, and all of that. So I score value orientation plus minus, not because they're not doing well, but because the acceptance is a bit slow. We have to work harder, all of us. Cooperatives minus, unfortunately. The first set of 70 youths any loan, government loan from the micro small business organization that government set to give loans to small businesses. 500,000 naira, but you form yourselves into a cooperative of 10 people, so you get 5 million naira. Okay, you have your proposal, your business, agriculture, horticulture, animal husbandry, etc. The first 70 paid back fully on time. And when I went mad, we will be not used Onitsha as an example. Then trouble started because the management of the Anambra State, ASBA, Anambra State Small Business Agency, now came back to offer us loans for about 140 people, which we accepted, but unlike the first set where each partner, each participant had a business that they can invest the money to grow and pay back. Many of the take-ups this time around didn't even have any business. And we found out that some of them didn't even intend to have a business. So the payback on that is 50%, 50%. About 50% payback. Many of them by default. I've taken it upon myself that if you have to send them to jail, they'll go to jail because they're disgracing Onitsha. Somebody took the money for the whole group, 5 million naira. He hasn't paid back 1 kobo. And I've sent him to jail to show example. So cooperatives, minors, they failed. And the microfinance institution is minus because it hasn't taken off. Okay. The fear is that if the cooperatives are behaving this way, and the microfinance institution is to lend money to our people at small interest rates, we can get money from institutional banks, like Bank for Commerce and Industries, even from the central bank, the special fund. You can get loans from them at 8 to 10%, whilst commercial loan today is about 25-30%. You can get loans at 8 to 10% and give it to our people at the same level. Okay, but the microfinance institution is supposed to be a private sector driven. So we're going to ask for subscription. If you subscribe, you take a risk. If it works well, you make a profit. Okay, we have a model, or we have models in Lagos that are working very well. We're going to emulate them. So it hasn't taken off. That's why it's called manual. But all in all, this is the picture of what you've been driving on to take Onitsha to the next level. We've had successes, we've had failures also. From the failures, we're learning to rejig and go forward. And we have the measurement and evaluation group that are running through all of this. And they tell us where we have problems, where we have successes, and all that. And all of this effort, except for the small group and the program support, who earn a little money, but if they go into the market, they'll earn multiples of that. Every effort that you put in is completely voluntary. This is the strength of ONAF, that Indianapoli come together and put their time and energy to transform the community. Finally, I'll talk about the legacy, what I call the legacy projects, things that hopefully will sustain our history, our culture, etc., going forward. Imobi development, we've gone a long distance. Ndemali Imobi 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we'll know that Imobi Onitsha is a different place today. We still have work to do. We have to finish East Pavilion, equip it as a youth resource center and all that. Then Onitsha, we need to do some creative artwork there to reflect our culture and tradition. The grounds, the front grounds, we still need to do some work on the grounds so that Ebatimo will be on Onitsha. You can take a seat on the gardens and relax and have a good time, etc. Ukweze Umuazaroli is now effectively our social center. Back on our board, back in the church, back in the memory. Okay, we need to do a lot of work there. We are disciplined to use that place. Okay, we need to maintain that grass so that you see beautiful grass lawn. We're just coming from the hotel to this place. Okay, some of the housing estates that are there. Now, this is my model for Onitsha. The trees around, so that you come in there, you have a sense of discipline maintenance. Okay. We now have toilets that are functioning. So work to be done there. Ukweze Okebunabo, Kosi Road. Finally, we got court judgment on that. So we have to transport it to our cultural center, where our young artists and writers can pitch in. People can come and see what they're doing and so on and so forth. Again, you can use it also. Like Imam can also use it. Okay, we've cut a lot of trees down there, but we've left the significant ones are left there as part of the earlier on. We're thinking of using modern techniques. The vault system is very well known around. Lagos is using the vault system now. So a family can have a vault that can take up to 4 layers of people. And has the advantage, one, that the family is together and so on. Okay. The vault system is one we're looking at seriously. We've been asking for land from the government, even from Transit, where we can build a cemetery. Okay, but the concept of the buying physically apart, we have not risen to that. But it may come to that. But at some point, we have to ban Iwanamadu because it's becoming unhygienic. Okay. Imobi development I've talked about as this project. So I talked about the civil war, that we have not healed. The communities have not healed. People have not healed. Rwanda, where they had genocide. They killed about 800 people within 3 months, 3-4 months, which means people were dying every day. But they've healed and they've come back together. And part of their healing is to tell the story of what happened so that it doesn't happen again. So we're starting a project. So every family knows, okay? So family by family, we have to get all the lists. Maybe them as they do in America, as they do it all over the place. First World War from their community. So you honor them once a year, etc. Chimede Museum, there's a trust body which has been created to oversee the Chimede Museum. So I brought a project of Imobi Onitsha that will take money from Ndi Onitsha as part of that, but we're raising money separately for that. We started construction, we stopped, we just raised money again. We're resuming construction. We'll continue to. We're hoping that by the end of next year, a section will be open, okay, to attract people to Onitsha and to create opportunities for Umuakai who are artists. The Onitsha circle of artists, Umuakai being Onitsha, who are artists, there are probably up to 30 of them or more. And they're being very Chimede, okay. And the book is available either for purchase or for fund for launching. We can talk about that separately. It's very, very lavishly published book. Chimede Museum will change the face of Onitsha from just trade to a bit of culture. Next door to the stadium, next door to Imobi Onitsha, okay, and in a very nice area, so that Onitsha begin to get a new image. A lot of books on Onitsha, okay, and the diaspora. I don't know how much of it you have access, but we'll draw up a whole list. Honoranzi, who has 2 books, which are very, lead you into Onitsha tradition very, very well. Chika Kosa wrote a book. Isaac Banefo has a book. Benchuku Debe has a book. Kadafia, S.I. Bosa has a book. Jerry Orakwe has a book. And Sami Feka has a book, and all of that. So we'll compile all of those. We know those that are available. S.I. Bosa is still available. The 2 books by Honoranzi who are available. Chika Kosa, Heroes and Heroines, was reprinted, so we know it's there. The Onitsha Obosi crisis, so all the legal cases between Onitsha and Obosi. Yeah, I mentioned that. So would compile all of them and let you know available. Each of you non diaspora, you should have these books in your library for your own education and education of your children. Nnamdi Azikiwe has 2 books, which he did in a very, in fact, they were printed on newsprint. Like Agwa DBA, get authority to reprint them properly. Let us forgive our children, and then the other one was on the market crisis. Okay, even though it's on the market crisis, not just traced Onitsha, the history of Onitsha, colonial times, etc., etc. His bibliography is amazing. Okay, then of course, now it's about 11, 12 years ago, the 2-volume edited by Kirunzi were published. One on essays on Onitsha from the colonial times. The second volume was my own speeches and lectures and interviews and all that. The 2 volumes are still available. And now on my own speeches and lectures, etc., the second edition is being worked upon now. Okay, that is from 2002 to 2011, from 2012 to the present time. Hopefully, it will be available by the end of this year into early next year. I'm working on 3 books now. One, all the judgments I've delivered, which come to close to 30, will come out in the book form. Some of them, Oku Mo, Obi Boro, Obotu, Umuase, Ibwa, Ukwa, and Obo, Omozele. Were you a defender or a But collectively, they give you an insight into which one just were as far as our spiritual succession to more and all that. Okay, so that's one book. The second one will be on the Obin Council. Again, to give a window into the Obin, how Obin Council operates. Okay. I've written quite a bit on that, and I gave a keynote lecture at Lagos State Court of Arbitration on alternative dispute resolution. All of that will go into the second book. And the third one, I've forgotten what the third one is going to be. The third one on our socio-cultural organizations, Abalanza Onitsha, Utuodo, Diobo. It's quite a bit on that. Then the fourth book will be on the transformation journey, which I've just talked about, right from the beginning, 2002, when I came onto the throne, the various efforts we've made at transformation leading up to where we are today on Onitsha Advancement Foundation. Okay, so the 4 volumes, they come as volume 1, 2, 3, and 4 together. The first 3 judgments, social cultural organizations, and the Being Council are literally together. They need editorial work to go into publication. The transformation journey will still come together, and so on. Then, of course, the book I gave to the mayor yesterday on the artwork and all that. So all of them put together, will be a legacy that we are leaving for Umu Onitshaamaka and all that. And my advice to anybody Onitsha to have a set of the books on Onitsha. The book by Kirunzi, that's the book on the essays, has over 500 items of bibliography on Onitsha, and Igbo studies. The bibliography itself alone is worthy because if Obuna in Elomakia, Basala, Igbo, or Onitsha, if you go on the bibliography, you find that people have written something about it before, and so on and so forth. And recently, we celebrated the 170th anniversary that Bishop Ajay Crowder was consecrated a bishop. And by, with that, we all got to learn how much Onitsha was involved in the ascendancy of Ajay Crowder. Even though Yoruba Kobo, he made his fame as bishop of Onitsha. And from Onitsha then went to Christianize every other places. And Obosi took 25 years. For Christianity to go from Onitsha to Obosi took 25 years. Yeah, but you learn all of this. You know how you relate to other people. I stop so far, and then we can go into discussions. Thank you very much. By the way, let's Onya say a few words about your father as we're preparing. Then, of course, you want to talk about the crop thing. Yeah. You very ably thought about Ofala. Just Ofala Onitsha, they can merely na Azu. Azu cannot do or live or survive outside of a millie. Onitsha cannot do without Ofala. I cannot go. Either you celebrate it big or small, but you must celebrate it. Over the years, I'm going to use statistics to illustrate here. 80% of funding for Ofala, both Indian and corporate bodies. I am a Onitsha. I contribute not more than 20%. But no Ofala Onitsha. Ufuka Chimel Onitsha. Ring neck Onitsha Melonweba. Okay, onye nwe obodo ligotesi ukpo. NAC na stadium were ụkwụ gavee ime obi wee bee nwụọ. No security. Ụkwụ ime obi Onitsha. E wee decide ya na ga-eme fence. Ka ọ dị ka ime obi m. Kelee ego ị ga-adụ. E wee sị na-aga na ama ebe ọ ga-cost. Akpọ ndị nwe the experience. Quantity surveyors, I think led by Nwosisi na late Uboli. Renowned quantity surveyors on the channel. The way cost to him. I drove one, if my memory serves me right, I drove Kalele 3 million then. It was 3 million. And 3 million. And I'm actually going to happen. 3 million. 20. No, about 22 years ago. Kelaga was 3 million. Then the choice on our board. A Western Evagaman cat can have to Noble. Obelazu da Pata Obelenko. Nukwazu, Pata Nukunko. A way Kenya. Obey the cowboys on Patala Obelenko. Obey the cowboy at Alabelenko. And so on and so forth. Manada Onitsha big Bogdelumpu na-ekel akala ụtọ nke bata na aba sibanye ovu stout or baba ibe ji wee ka ụtụ asịbụ na ibe je ka ịlụ bụ palasi dị n'Obosi ma ọ palasi dị n'Agụata palasi Ọnịcha ewe kaba ụtụ ewe tụba ụtụ. But let me land quickly. As I'm standing before you now, 2 villages are Katrokeva. Abogirian, 2 villages are. That tells you the way I see relate to the development buying. Now, otu agbogiri si wee hu ndị ane mmadụ a na vụrụ anyị n'anya na-elotelu m n'ovu ọyị anyị bụ ọyị ya jebele vevu onye ọka etiti ka eje ka ibido ime obi as it is now. Ọ dị check of 10 million nye onye nwe onye ọka etiti. Ị ga-amazi ebe ị ga-agwa onye ọcha weta 10 million. Egwe kpachasịa ya ọhịa ọfụma. Ọ dị 10 million. Otu aka ndị ọzọ si ebe bafụrụ anyị n'anya. Ovu ka chi mere Ọnịcha. Anyị finishụrụ ọnwa anyị. Mana anyị ama adịzị ka ọnụ akọla anyị. Maka na ndị anyị mmadụ na-agazi n'ime ogbe fa na-avụ emume a na-avụ olili. September garịta anyị sobe ebe ego ọvala biko ọ donation ọva na-enye anyị ebe a na-agwazi anyị kịta na-aga esi anyị na amụziba amụ. Yes. So the corporate bodies here in Yang, most of them are not doing well again in their business. A major brewery company in Yang Avian last year. Even our major sponsor Globacom. I am now Onitsha. And now you go and the house and you go. Better. Manel Kalanyoka. And yet you was third generation. One. In Kanaka after China. Oh, Maka. No, you the time. The web about and the watch again on England. So I don't want to run Yabavala. Ika Gugani, Ije Yobazi ego, Utasia Yogo. Manai Molego. But let me tell you, Oko from Ega, Eweta, Makane Kuavala, you don't have Antana Banavala, no, a fraction Nabanavala, and where will you was your logo? Now I'm going to you. Oh, Naka, remember fence. Okweze okebula na ka eji wee ba no kweze oboza omweze aroli bebe na-echi ya bụ ọzọ bebe a na-amụ ya bụ ọdụ gayo nke fọdụrụ anyị na-edebe just a month ago 150 kVA genset dị n'ime obi eji agba ya bụ ọvala bụ mmadụ nyere anyị ya ka anyị na-use over the years. Engineer Honora onye chekwata with research. O wechi ya dasa anyị bụ ezi enyi ya. Ime obi ọncha. Where the child authority from 9 we negotiated it. That same generator now is about 50 million. Fortunately, I saying you 8 million. Yes, 3 weeks ago, can you get 8 million? Couples are property on it. Okay, 20% about the buying and Although they balance and individuals, on their age grade, indeed, last year, did about 10,000. Although now, one the guy 1 million, couple of years. So I know to guy in I was in that. Nanko depending on a saloon. Crowdfunding. $50, $100, $200. Crowdfunding. Global. On your job now. Associate your job. My man is as he get 5 million. I will create global crowdfunding on a child of Europe. The subscriber organizations need no one. Never on the centric organizations subscribers. South Africa. And then I go 80% of people in charge in the diaspora, America. So crowdfunding. And about your issue. Lawrence Odo, Dr. Zonis, over. In the committee, in the agency, Makana, Bangwell, Popular wine, bottle of wine, over the mobile. I'm with disposable money. Man, even your Google. And your Marios in the they're going to have on the Allah. I usually came up and I usually came out. So now, no, from the above, this is a roll on the also. I make it sure to anyone with us. I make it say, I got the Jukon. I've engaged the all one development. Again, will you have one? Or it's about it. It's about it. It's about Oranyan. Onye na-echi ọzọ na onye na-agba ọdụ na onye ọbụla ka John dia ka Night dia ka Day dia tinye for development of Onitsha. So na okwu meri akwa nne na-abụrụ na Ofala Onitsha Abazi is gone international. O nwere ụdị award or recognition anya ka enwetara regionally, nationally, and internationally. It's a big brand now. Big brand. Okwanye. Makana, in our DNA, is culture and tradition. If you love doctor, if you lawyer, if you artisan, or whatever you are, neighbor on your Onitsha. Well, about the belly. About the belly. Ndị mmadụ na-enwe enwe. So this anya ka abụrụ tebụl dị n'Ọnịcha, ma ebe abụrụ Ọnịcha. Eluzi anyị nwere na-ada azụ, ọ bụrụ na anyị nwere the means. No, na anyị nwere. I think it's a matter of mindset. So can you change it? It's all part of value reorientation. So part of value reorientation. Yeah, now, starting from this Ofala, but crowdfunding, it is not wrong here. And you may just set line now, you don't be a you go on with God. Borio, the better kind of crowdfunding now. Or the very, very important because I can name
because the only thing that I add, who are the ambassadors to this initiative, the GoFundMe, not only I get respect, and your participation, because extend their bono to make a fund for this thing. Friends, family, Onitsha indigenous, non-Onitsha indigenous can be part of this process. Okay, because it's not just anyone never. I know that I'm expecting and I'm hoping that everybody never can. But I want it to go beyond this. Okay, I know I've won your when they put you out, and I need a campaign of exposure. We have to expose this. We have to make it, just like Anyaka Kasipu, it's international. Imagine on Lagos, imagine on South Africa, Canada, Europe, everywhere. Yes, okay, Beacon, okay. And here we go, volunteers, were expanding the message. Leading the effort, Umu Onitshaamaka every other time, because Unu repost to Enya, send the to family members, send the to co-workers, send the just do the heavy lifting, just do the heavy lifting. Every amount counts. Every competition. And you can do more than one. All the nature of this thing. Yes. Yeah. I hear what I got this going for in a couple of weeks ago. Man, I need to on backbone. Okay, we finish here. Our lands toward the participant. Okay, we finish here. Sister City. Now I get here in an extra gear. We're gonna have every other day. Again because. African with data. It doesn't even end there. You can next week see another Africa. That's the beauty of the GoFundMe. You can put as much as you want, as frequently as you want. I told at the end of this, can you be self-sufficient? Just like some of them have, stayed back because of economic hardship. They are not doing anything. So I know I call them, Picono, Avenger, Gala.
So what of caution? Because caution. I observe on Ayabu crowdfunding GoFundMe. Tip. The issue of tip. Because the issue of tip. It's an area 19% Chinese rules. Ignore. The tip. Makana, you can now decide what you want to give. My brother automatic is there.
Once you put $1 amount, if we are online jack of grade, you can drag it to
drive it to zero. Never nature any tip. You know what I mean?
All important, you have to put an amount. It will light up.
It's the way it's set up. Huh?
The two things. They may, but you can get it back. Actually, people present you have to go through that process. Open about it.
Yeah, what you have something to say?
You can get a refund, like refund you, but don't go through that process.
It's again, man.
We can, and when we send this out, because when it gets sent out, I only is very specific about the fact about that tip issue. You don't have to give the tip.
Yes.
But it's an automatic thing, and there's this thing that goes around to say that that's a requirement for using GoFundMe, but it's not.
No, it's not.
So it's very. But I'm just saying the instructions that go out as we're doing GoFundMe needs to include what Anya said.
Yes.
You don't have to give the tip.
Just draw it and say.
One thing, because to visit your consciousness. Okay, where a small note that you gain and you lose. You make me want to put it in red so that other remind there about the jail.
I don't know about
what you do, you don't want to jail.
We're a service charge.
Up to 4%.
Yes, that's why
that's why the chief is not a requirement anymore, because they're already getting their money. about, you know, the percentage. 4% and the rest.
They're just trying to be smart. So
Again, as we go on, so you be a smart, you know, knowledgeable contributor.
all right.
Yes.
And with provision for group, because there's a group, group participation. Because the GoFundMe for individual, right? Like, I'm going to group actually as a group or another.
No, but you know, you see where it tells you, you know, others may option, it's your name there. You can put any name you want.
And if it's name also.
Yes. Yes, you can do that.
All right. All right.
Let's go back to general comments, general questions, observations. If what I suggest is we take 5 at a time, and then I'll address them, and they'll take another 5, or take another 5. Can I have a moderator? Okay, you moderate.
Thank you very much, Abogidi and Agunwoke and Oyenwobodo. Thank you for coming. I'm not gonna say what you said. I'm not gonna make. Oh, sorry. My first name is Dam Ikog. This is from Obozoma village. I just have a little bit of speech. I will make it very, very short. Please, I promise. Very, very short, like a speech. It is really an honor, a great privilege to address this gathering of the finest men and women of Onitsha origin. Welcome, Abogidi. Welcome to Indianapolis. It is a pleasure to see you here with your wonderful entourage. I don't know if the mayor of Indianapolis is here. If he's here, we appreciate your coming to be with us. I don't know whether the mayor is here. Okay.
If you make a speech, questions should not last more than 2 minutes.
Okay.
So making a speech does not apply on this occasion.
Okay. Thank you. So
just say what you want to. If I'm letting you know before 1 or 2 minutes.
Yes, sir. The reason why I'm saying this, that I want to make a speech, is because, please, I would like
if
to.
Everybody makes a speech, then I never share.
Okay.
Thank you. We cannot have the Gala Night.
Okay, thank you.
Send your speech to him.
Okay. Well,
no. Send your speech to the organizers. They can now put it on the platform and publicize it for everybody.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Let me say what I want to say. Just ask your question. Yes, let me ask a question. 2 minutes. What I'm saying, everything that you said today, I am so happy that I was part of this organization to come here. But there's one thing that I would like to add, that with all due respect, sir, everything that you said, I agreed, but I totally disagree with you. You mentioned the article that I wrote, which is the extravagance capital of Onitsha. I'm the one that wrote that article. And for you to say not acknowledge the person that wrote that article, I'm sorry, sir, I totally disagree.
Can I have this?
Hello, Mr. Kong. Abogri made a reference to a concept. He wasn't talking about you particularly. He was referencing an issue that's been widely discussed about extravagance in Onitsha, not particularly your article. That's important.
No. That's it.
daalụkwanụ agbọgidi ekelekwa m nwa bụ nwa prọfesọ Ọkala biko ọ ga-asọ m ma anyị ghọta ebe anyị nọ ọnwa enwe nke ọchị ihu ya ji eju ese ga-esi ekwu anyị bịara ebe a ịgba ebe agbọgidi a na-eme ebe agbọgidi is a monarch. Please remember that he is a monarch. Unu ghọta akọwalụ m bukon agbọgidi ka ibe ikwulikwulu ọfụma ka uche anyị n'ibe anyị ji m ya
Because I get limit time to one minute because if I want to run over to Gala Night. Okay.
Agbọgidi ndị iche ekenekwa m unu mụ abụrụ Militoni Kwento ofomobi Ikporo ofu okwu ife nwe ife gbasalụ Ọnịcha vigilante security elu Ọnịcha na-akpọzi yele every night biko Agbọgidi ama like ka ndị ume tinyekwa anya n'ife na-eme na security enu Ọnịcha na ọ ga-emesịkwa anyị nwa tupu ebe ibe Ọnịcha ọkwa ka nna ya
Okay.
Agbọgidi daalụ mụa bụ Ojini Ọkala session and ụmụ anyị nọ in diaspora, not just in the US, everywhere else, and the trans culture. Okay, because bo ụmụ ọzọ onwe suggestion inwe for how we can grow the love of the Onitsha culture among our youth, the diaspora. By saying 20 years. 20 years ago. Because in 20 years from today, it looks to me like there will be a new generation. You know, thank you for the younger Ndichie. Manomu anyị na-esonetenu, they want to know about Onitsha. But the other thing on Choijo Bumaka, oral history. Do we have a program of how we can include oral history in what we are putting together for legacy purposes to ensure that the next generation, 20 years from today, that they love Onitsha as much as those of us in this room love Onitsha. Agbọgidi daalụ.
Bukoka, just in diaspora.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
But specifically, ndị nọ in diaspora, to me, are more disadvantaged than on the non.
Agbọgidi, ndị iche, afa m bụ Chukwuemeka Azikiwe. Chukwuemeka Azikiwe. Enwere m a question and a suggestion based on Ekwu maka the print. My question about, so Monday, in the southeast part of Nigeria, Monday has become a weekend. It's no longer part of the weekday. And will any plans, anything in the works to get Monday back as a business day? Because they lose one business day, and so all the about a day, I guess it's replacing Sunday. I will try to maybe any clarification on what's going on with that. Then secondly, with our Kwane print, even a lot of mentions of prints that are in the works. What I can see with digital. because we're in the age of digital now. I can volunteer to help or whatever we need to do that. Maybe partner with Amazon to get it into Kindle, so that this way it's easier to get in the hands of the Generation X and Gen Z, like we said, which is my contribution. Darling.
Yeah, thank you guys. Can I continue? Okay, one more.
Awogidi. I'm a neighbor. Is in California. California. Yes. Yes, I was with you here.
Unfinished business.
Yes, I am. I told Uamaka, I'm very late, and I went a lot from the view, which I'm an open event there. And on my idea, if I know that, okay, if we're here, we would have achieved a lot. Great children. Now there's a follow-up. If Onya Kubakalo Ofala, foreign of Ofala, and other things, Onitsha, you can know if you never do a very good job. But the problem with Borodika, the circulation of the request for funding now delimited to certain area. Makaka is in Anoya. Open a letter to associations. Onitsha, when you buy a front line of Fala, all line go before Fala. And a budget, if Fala got cost for this year or whichever year, and send them to associations. And you work that together, put the funds together, send that to Onitsha, or you can fund the project. I'll bring back an China, just 9 deal, and all that. We can handle it. That's all.
Shall I ask you some of the questions?
Abogidi. Afam, yes. Deacon Paul Aduba of the Anglican Communion. Yes. Yes, exactly, sir. Yes, I'm very thankful to God Almighty for your influence in both federal and state governments. And is it possible that with this hiring or this employment of our younger EDT, to use them to tap your influence to lobby for funds for our initial projects? Thank you.
Iwe, good afternoon, sir. Afamobo, Onwalo Chidozie, Abumonyo Bozuma. Obozuma. Yes, sir. We are listening to you carefully when you were speaking. And you and the whole world, people with disability. And they are not like they address even on the child with disability. And they are performing in various aspects. A lot of them were professors, lecturers, federal workers and states. So Biko, Kelo accommodation, your council and your palace were for people with disability. Even in the whole world, and we an ADA, American Act of Disability. Even in some countries, were special seats for people with disability. So do you have any provision for that? Thank you.
Let's take these questions and then we can come back again for the second round. Donny Kogu, I don't really see where you're coming from. You're disagreeing with me that I didn't acknowledge that you wrote an article that resulted in other articles and so on and so forth. I don't see where you're coming from. And I said very clearly that we summarized the points that were raised from the various contributions without attributing who made those points and who didn't make those points. All we want is to get the issues on the table and talk about them. We don't want to talk about, it's not about who wrote the article. We know the genesis of how you got to write that article. We know how you got to write that article. So you can't claim credit. Somebody else can even claim credit. But Oyobra Boy Onitsha, Anya Fulanya, should be asking himself the same question that came up. And having raised, people also made contributions that were even more incisive than the original article. Who is to evaluate and who is to give credit? We are not here to give credit. We're here to address issues, Wasala Onitsha, collectively. And all of us will take credit if it's good, or we take responsibility if it fails. I just pray that you continue to engage in the debates going forward, because the fact that we're just beginning, and I made it very clear that the values orientation program will involve constant soul searching. Where are we heading? One point I didn't mention when I spoke is that we have to do the economics of what is going on. How much do we spend and where does that money go to? With the objective that as much as possible, Egondi Onitsha should remain Nakandi Onitsha. Icho mili, jegol na konyo Onitsha. Icho bread, jegol na konyo Onitsha. Oil can be bari. Okay, so we have to do the economics and lay it out. Okay, affair no ye be no. Today levelanya, Onitsha levelanya, Kobonyi go levelanya. Who takes the margin? Even though they print like on the and so on and so forth. So that's for that. Urmilikwento, Ajuju, okay, and we're still struggling to get a sustainable security arrangement for Onitsha. In fact, one of our friendly businessmen, gave 2 vehicles to Onitsha Community Vigilante Unit, then threw a challenge to them. Now, when you've secured a new Onitsha, then extend your activities to Onitsha generally, and he will organize all the businessmen in Onitsha to provide funding. So we have a challenge, okay? And if we're not your fellow, your fellow, because there are some people who join the OCVU because I got stipend. Actually, you don't see them. Or if you send them to a post, to be there and work, you don't see them. So we have to get people who are committed. And now we have a minimum wage thing. We have to move their income because they're even below the minimum wage. But still, if minimum wage has moved, we have to move it and all that. The structure is another point. We organize our vigilante village by village and community by community. Community, for instance, a one street, stroke Adebois was one community, Jikolo Wefa. Waterworks was one community. Obela was a community. Mogbe, village. Got to go to support Umu Akafa who run the vigilante service. And I know then that Oboleke was very good. Okay. Umu Ase was very good. And Umu Ase was an example. Umu Bosinsi outside Nabata, Isimo Rabata, 8 p.m. on Okosi Road, Umu Ase vigilante, stop. Naya, Abugit, move. That is, So, if you could is spot on. and we're not sleeping on it. We have to either go back to the village system or continue or have a combination of the village system, what you're doing now. Funding is a challenge. Then the effective use of that money is even more challenging. Make sure we spend the money. One involved training and retraining is very, very important and all that. So your point is well taken. Okay. Ojini Okala. Oral history is useful, but oral history also has a flaw. Now, as you pass it from one generation to another generation, coloration begins to come in, and some elements begin to disappear. I'm not a historian, but there's a debate. I mean, if you check, there are articles on oral history. I've actually read some articles, scholarly articles on oral history, the challenges and all of that. So the tendency is not to just continue with oral history, but to document everything. However, having lunch or breakfast or dinner, in 10 minutes, you can talk about ancestry, for instance. Okay. Muna Awa na Grafia Odi Madebuna. That's one. And with your kids, whatever it is, either evening prayer or best is if you're having a meal together, you have a conversation at table. You raise the issue. The same thing with Iswa Suswani. I know years ago, going to be America, there was a couple from Europe. One was Danish, and the husband was from Latvia in Russia. And they taught their kids to speak Danish, speak Latvian, and speak American language, just at dinner table every day. Okay, so I'll say, don't worry about oral history. Let's talk about history. Okay, if it's documented to your children orally, okay, and with documentation, then at least there's an exactitude in terms of dates and all of that. And then there's a debate about Kekano. The Onitshaamaka, and I've said it before at our virtual town hall meetings. Umu Onitshaamaka Asuzi Onitsha. You know why? Because now I na lose attachment the more TND and them mad. Well, 3 or 4 children, and they influence our own children with their own version of Igbo. Unfortunately, not to add na Ndioka, both Anglican and Catholic, as now Igbo kana so. Father Onitsha, and I go out na asu there. So we have to start ourselves. Now, some parents, especially in this private school, believe that sending their children, that speaking Igbo to Mwakafa. Jambu, say hello to Uncle. Can I one night? Okay, so a lot of work to do. And American education is totally immersion. So, and the American children anyway, but no, as swine, and they pick up. Once you start, they pick up. Okay, so it's part of the values orientation program that we're working on for Igbo generally. I was in Houston for a few days, I met with leaders of the World Igbo Congress on this subject, on how to inculcate the Igbo-ness amongst the Bani, wherever they are, especially in diaspora. We're going to use centers like Ewekasile everywhere to do that. Okay, so your point is very well taken also. Chumuike Azikiwe, stay at home on Monday. Some of our brilliant Igbo people have actually done economics, the economic cost of staying at home, and it's quite heavy. The banks are shut down, the markets are shut down, transactions are not going on, and so on and so forth. Okay, so it's a big issue, and Nnamdi Kanu, who started it, has said, if I go and do, there's no more sit at home. But the unknown gunmen have taken it over. Anambra, I think, is the worst. I've been in Abia State on Monday, precisely the day that the geometric power station was launched. This moment here, I drove to Aba. We went through the town. We didn't go on the expressway. We went through the old road. Banks were open at Umuahia. Banks were open. Markets were open. Umuahia is the hometown of Nnamdi Kanu. Aba, the same thing. Economic activity was going on. Okay. Abakaliki, Umuahia, Ebonyi State, not seriously affected. Anambra, Enugu, and to some extent, Imo State, Okay. Why the governors have said, oh, go to markets, go to your business, the security will give you security cover. Ipuanos, you don't see any security man except collecting money at the toll gate. And the governments themselves, even though the civil servants will quietly go to the office, they don't arrange any meetings, any large events on Mondays. So, and what has happened when the so-called unknown gunmen, I work with the market leaders. Now, Afia Mayor, they'll kill them.